welcome to Living Ardently. I'm your host, Adrian Giraldi, and we are back with another episode. And today I'm joined by one of our writers who you might have heard her on the episodes a couple times. A couple of free, what is it? What was those things called? 5 Minute Fridays?
5 Minute Fridays.
Yeah, all those good things. Jessica Strub is back.
Hey.
It's audio first and she waves.
Wait, what?
I mean, we're audio primarily audio, so people don't always see the YouTube channel. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. It's the YouTube people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, she waved at me.
Yeah, I waved at you.
So today we are here. You might have seen the title. We're talking about Wandavision, and let me tell you what. Back, why Jessica? Why not one of our co-hosts? Well, first of all, back when was it? Was it 2017?
Probably. What movie was it for?
It has to be one. It's either Star Wars or Marvel. It's probably Marvel.
It was Marvel. Mm-hmm.
And then Star Wars kind of came in too.
Yeah.
But it was just after one movie. I mean, we are both notorious, like Marvel and Star Wars. Her more so Star Wars, I more so Marvel, I think. Mm-hmm. But we are both big fans of both of these, like, what do you call them? Series or empires. These stories. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of we were friends before this, but we really kind of got really close because of our love for these. And so every time we watch a film, even though one of them has not debriefed, like watched the film, we would chat and like debrief about it. It was like, I need to talk this out. Right? Because it was so good. And so we used to do it all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We did. It would be like 2-hour long phone conversations. Just endless.
Yeah, with movies going away, it kind of it took that away from that. But also, it's just it's not the same with doing it with like TV. There's like a couple of times where we did Mandalorian the first season. Mm-hmm. And when I was doing Clone Wars, when I was watching Clone Wars the first time, that's when I was like trying to get every insight from you, and you wouldn't give me anything.
You had to be surprised. I could not give away anything. Yeah,
but it's been, that's kind of why I had to, like, when you guys voted like 100% yes on that Wandavision poll that I did on Instagram, I was like, all right, well, I know who first to call, so let's call Jess. We haven't debriefed in a while. It'll be cool to debrief on Wandavision on the podcast, and we have a lot of resources at this point to kind of pull from and to like bring into the conversation. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. I'm really excited. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, you're excited about Wandavision and you watched it. But if you have not, big spoiler alert. We're gonna talk all about Wandavision and probably talk spoilers. So this is your warning. Go now if you can. I've always wanted to say that. So go now if you are not caught up, and then come back and listen to this episode when you're done. So yeah, you ready?
Yep.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So Wandavision, okay. What was your first initial reaction from the first 2 episodes?
From the first 2 episodes, I actually saw halfway through. I think my family started watching it. They started watching it without me because I was at work or something, and then I came home and it was on TV. So I saw both episodes like halfway through, and that probably didn't help the confusion part of it. Because I came in like, what is going on? Like this is the series. But I thought it was really cool. I really, really love how they took they filmed it similar to how they filmed I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke. Like I'm a huge vintage show lover, like 1940, 1950s eras. Like I swear I was born in the wrong generation. Like that is, I love that period of time, and I just really enjoyed seeing that incorporated into a modern TV show. So I really appreciated the inspiration that came from those shows and how they incorporated it. So that was my reaction. I had no clue what was going on, like everybody else probably.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of got the initial direction where it was heading in. From the start, I kind of knew it was Wanda all controlling everything and making the days go by as she thought best, and so to speak. But
it was interesting. I mean, from the trailers, I mean, it's like kind of obvious it's not nothing, none of this is real. I mean, first of all, Vision is dead right at this point after Endgame. He was after Infinity War, when Thanos put that Mind Stone out. He was a corpse, and then like he didn't come back after Tony Stark's snap either. So he was gone. He was gone, and there was no bringing him back. Although there could be an alternate reality where he does.
That's like what I originally thought.
The 2014 reality, where Thanos, the young Thanos, came back from Endgame.
Yep.
Technically, in that reality, like, there's no more Thanos, so that reality is like kind of untouched in a way, but also there's no threat of Thanos, so there could be a different threat. So, and that's just getting really into the nerddom there, but you knew already that there's something not right about this. What is going on? I think in the trailers they had Jimmy Woo coming through the "Who's doing this to you, Wanda?" Going on and on. There's a lot of misdirection on this show.
There was
a ton of misdirection, and that's what I kind of love and hate. You know?
Yeah. Going into it, I hated it, but after watching the episode, I was hooked. Like, this is so cool. It kept you on your toes, and you weren't sure what was happening, and there was all these speculations going on in your head. Like, it could be this, and like you're looking for symbols and like anything you could find within the shows and like Easter eggs just to try to figure out what was happening.
Yeah, I love watching episodes of people debriefing YouTube videos of people debriefing episodes or like speculation. So New Rockstars is my favorite thing to watch / listen to. They like Eric Voss is just so like everyone on the show is always so like knowledgeable about what the comic relations are to the episodes and storylines and what it could possibly go. So like the imagination is crazy, but like people kept thinking Mephisto was part of this, and I was kind of convinced that he would come out, but as the series went through, I kind of hopped off of that train a little bit, just because it felt like it would be taken away from Agnes's character, who, my gosh, what a performance by her and Elizabeth Olsen, like. So good. I mean, even Paul Bettany, like they were all great. But I just was so in awe with Elizabeth Olsen and Catherine Hahn's portrayal of these two characters here. For me, like going into the first two episodes, it was exciting to see how they got the cadence of how they spoke. Like the certain ways of how they emphasize certain words and the intricacies. I love the attention to detail. That's something I always love when it comes to anything Disney. Like at the parks, at the everywhere. There's so much attention to detail. They're all about that experience, and they did so well in making sure that the experience with this 50s sitcom felt legitimately like a 50s sitcom. And it was so good. So good.
It was incredible.
Yeah. And then going into the end of episode 2 where she goes, no, rewinds. I'm like, oh snap. That's crazy. And it just goes crazy and crazier from there. And I loved every minute of this series. I kept wanting more. And I know some people hate that Disney Plus did this whole week by week releases where like people who are Netflix fans like get it all at once.
Yeah.
You know? There's like it stays like for those series, they stay at top for a little bit, and then once the next thing goes up, like it's down, you know. Where in Disney Plus, it's gonna WandaVision is gonna stay up for at least 10 weeks now.
Yeah,
you know, there's 9 episodes. It's gonna be up in the top ratings for 10 weeks, and it's gonna prolong it more and more, and it's gonna continue to stay there because people want that. I think the only reason why it's not now is because of freaking Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So
yeah, it's true.
I think
makes sense.
What do you think in the first few episodes were kind of your favorite moments? I know it's a lot to kind of think of, but
yeah, I'm trying to think back. I think one of my favorite. Okay, so first few episodes, are we talking like 1, 2, 3, or
let's say 1 to 5?
1 to 5.
Because I feel like 1 to 4, 4 like 6 to 9, or no, 1 to 4 and then 6 to 9. How about that?
Okay. Yeah. It's hard to pick out like particular moments, but I do really like the message that each episode brought of those first 4 combined, and I think that was just it was the joy that just seeing Wanda and Vision happy, even if it was fake, just seeing what the what could have been, maybe not in the 1950s, 60s, or 70s, but their life and building a family and just enjoying each other's company without the stresses that come from the superhero life. So I think that was definitely one of my favorites, and also the little as sad as it is, but the little hints of the sadness and grief mixed with it, just to kind of that just made it the whole thing bittersweet. Yeah, and just tears your heart out. And
there's so much for it, right? There's all the I like the little details, like I said. One of the things, when the jump cuts happen in the show, it's like that one jump cut that was just like, what the heck was that supposed to happen? It like makes you like rewind and to make sure that you didn't miss it. Yeah. And it actually cuts. Like the first time you can see her like actually doing it. But I think the one time, I think it was in the second episode, or maybe it was the third, where it just cuts. And like she rewinds it, and just the awakening of Vision, of him realizing what's going on or starting to question what's going on, that was so good to me. Like I love that, those moments of like, Wanda, like what's going on, and
what's happening,
the way he says Wanda too, like Wanda, like it's just, it has like so much compassion in it. Like,
it does. It does.
But I have to say, one of my other favorite moments, it's super super silly, but it's the introduction of Jimmy Woo in front of Westview, where he does the trick that he learned from Ant-Man.
Cute. That was
like, I was like, let's go. It's such a small detail, but it's so good.
And I loved seeing him work with Lieutenant Trouble, or what was her name in Captain Marvel?
Oh, shoot, Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
she's
loved
so great.
seeing her character, all grown up
Oh
now,
yeah.
and like taking her
Oh,
place in the Marvel universe. It was
when
so
she hit
good.
the beginning of episode 4 when she comes back. Oh
Yeah.
man, the reality of it. It's just the reality of the snap and the return, the
Mhm.
chaos that could happen. Like there's so much that could. It's like people who were on a boat when disappeared, they come
Yeah.
back. There,
And
it just
then
opens this reality to like all these people.
mhm.
Um, like in like Spider-Man Far From Home, it was so like
Yeah.
it was like you saw it, you saw the
So
snaps, but it
good.
wasn't like
Yeah.
devastating like this one was.
Mhm.
Um, and so just the chaotic and heartbreak of it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that opening scene I think was one of my favorite moments of WandaVision. Just the series in general, just because how powerful it was of her coming back
Mhm.
and how she's experiencing that grief at the same time. She finds out later that Wanda's experienced the grief and her passion. Um, I love Malcolm Rambeau because what drives her is to help someone get away from that grief that she
Mhm.
experienced with her mother.
Right.
You know, and she understands that pain, that feeling,
Mhm.
and she knows that she's good. That Wanda's good. That Wanda is not doing this and on purpose, torturing these people on purpose,
Mhm.
but out of grief, and she sees that, and she fights for that. That's her
Mhm.
whole motive in the entire series, and I love that about her.
Yeah.
And I have to say that despite how much I love Catherine Hahn and her portrayal of Agnes,
Mhm.
Monica Rambeau is probably my favorite um, person in this entire series
Mm.
in general. So it's just there's just so much goodies to it, right? Um,
Mhm.
so much compassion, so much love, and so much
Yeah, I
like
was gonna say again with the compassion theme.
yeah. There's
It's
so much.
I love it.
Then we go into the 80s for the latter half, right? I love the fact that the aspect ratio changes when it's like
Yep.
cinematic is like the cinematic aspect ratio is when
Yeah.
you're in reality, and then you're like TV sitcom and versus
Yeah.
like regular or full
That
widescreen.
was one detail I particularly loved. Because
It's
even
so
in the
good.
last episode, it was like it jumped at the end of, was it the third episode? Was the 70s?
Mm-hmm.
And right at the end of that, the aspect ratio started to change to 80. So
Right.
it was really, you
Right.
could tell what was coming next. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
Oh man. And those cutscenes too that were changed at the end of that 70s show, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, she didn't belong here, or it was
Mm-mm.
like she had to go. And then the next one, like in the was it the trailer or the previously on? It's like
Yeah.
she had to go. She didn't belong here. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, this got dark.
It did. It got really dark.
Yeah, that was like some of like the scariest parts of seeing Wanda not want to get rid of that denial stage. I think
Mm-hmm.
they said that in the entire stages in the entire series, she goes through the stages of grief, um, starting off in denial and going bargaining towards the latter half, and then acceptance at the
Mm-hmm.
end. Of letting them go,
Yep.
um, which is so beautiful.
It is.
There's so much lesson, so much depth to this film, and I think that's why I love WandaVision so much,
Mm-hmm.
because of that. Um, all the lessons you can take from there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, before we go to the deeper side of the conversation, why don't we circle back to the latter half of the series? What was your favorite parts there?
My favorite
After
parts. Yeah.
Episode 6, 7, 8, 9.
I gotta say, her whole transformation in episode 9, I think it was, when she becomes, the Scarlet Witch,
Yeah.
and the costume change and everything. It was just so cool.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by it, and it was so fangirling really hard over it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. One of my other favorite parts was how they introduced Quicksilver again, but with the actor from X-Men.
Yeah, Evan Peters.
Yes, I forgot his name. But yeah, that was really cool, and I really appreciate. I really liked how they. I liked his whole personality and his spunk and optimism and outgoing. Personality. It was really, really fun to see.
Yeah, that was so fun how they brought him in and was like, oh, they recasted Pietro? And I'm like, what? It's Evan Peters? Are they doing the multiverse crossover this way?
Yeah.
What the heck? And to our disappointment, it's Ralph.
It was,
Boner. It was Ralph. Oh, the heartbreak of that reality was. I was like, what a tease, Feige. What a tease.
Yep.
I was so disappointed. But it was great. It was great to see him act, to be amongst the Marvel, the MCU character.
It was. It was.
Because he's arguably the best Fox of Marvel, most successful one of that, except for Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think so too.
In any case, I didn't watch any of the Fox X-Men stuff.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces, but not enough to say that I've seen them in full. Yeah.
I need that. My back is killing me. I need to fix my back. There we go. All right, here we go. Yeah, I think one of my that was one of my favorites, but another one was episode 8. Episode 8 when they go back to Wanda's past.
Yep.
And seeing how this love for sitcom and why she's kind of leaning towards a sitcom reality, and seeing how that carried over to her and Vision's relationship. And fun, the crazy part is too, the last time she looks at her parents, her parents are snuggled up on the couch her and Wanda, her and Vision are at the end of the episode, where his arms around her, he has a remote in his hand, she's snuggled up onto him, and then she turns around to watch a show, and then boom, you're looking for this. That was a bad roadie joke.
I understood that reference.
I understood that. Deep Marvel jokes. You owe us a rating if you got those, or if you didn't, maybe whatever is the former, whatever causes us to get more ratings. So just that, how they ended almost every episode until Vision started to try to figure out what's going on. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think episode 8, and then getting into seeing how we find out that Hayward was lying about her stealing Vision's body. Yeah, I think that was so good.
It
That
was.
she just drove off, and then she drove off into Westview where Viz bought the house,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing
That
all
was
the
so hard to watch. Like, I think
right.
I started tearing up at that point. Like, as she's walking onto the plot and the outline of
Yeah,
the house is there, and it's just, it
in the
was so
beginning.
emotional.
Yeah, and you think about it, but like the first three things, like a lot of this happened within, I think, 2 or 3 years. Like her losing her family, then her losing her brother, and losing
Mm-hmm.
Vision. Like after seeing this series, it made like her grief in the those moments in the movies, especially like in Infinity War, like
Mm-hmm.
it carried such a different weight.
It
I don't know
did.
if you rewatch Infinity War since
No, I didn't. I
watching
haven't.
WandaVision,
But
but if I like it puts that
yeah.
series, like they already put emphasis on how like crucial and how sad that moment was, but man, that just like
Mm-hmm.
when Vision says like in that line before, we're gonna talk about our favorite lines and what they kind of carry into our Christian faith here in a little bit, but like before that line, he says, um, when talking to Wanda in the Avengers headquarters, he said before he says, what is grief if not love persevering? He said, um, I don't know what it is like to be alone
Mm-hmm.
because I've always been alone. I've never had. I've had, and I don't. What is the exact
Haven't.
words? I haven't had
I
anyone to
never had
lose.
a loved one to lose, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, oh no, I don't understand the lack.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been alone, so I don't understand the lack. And I understand losing a loved one because I've never had someone to lose. Um, and those lines, like to now know that he had someone to lose and how he was fighting uh, for them to be together. Oh,
Yeah.
that character development. Oh, breaks your heart. It just truly breaks your heart.
Mm,
But it's so beautiful,
it is.
man. So
Oof.
yeah, we're gonna take a break right here and then get into more of like the deeper context of the series that was so beautifully made, so wonderfully made, and how we can take some of the lessons that they taught us about grief, about identity, and put them back into our faith, into our day-to-day lives. Ooh, we'll be right back.
If you did not know, Living Ardently is now an affiliate with Be a Heart Design. Be a Heart has a bunch of great things for you and your family, so if you want to go get something, use our affiliate link in our show notes, and then you can use our promo code Ardently10 for 10% off your purchase. Everything that we make goes straight back into our podcast, so you'll be supporting our ministry. Again, so if you want to get something nice for yourself, for your friends, or your family, go to Be a Heart using our affiliate link, use our promo code Ardently10 for 10% off. And not only will you be helping the ministry here at Living Ardently, but you'll be getting something cool too. Again, link in the show notes, Ardently10. Let's get back to it.
Okay, we are back. WandaVision, 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 WandaVision. We're back. We're talking about WandaVision. We kind of just broke down our favorite parts of the series, our favorite little details earlier, but we didn't talk about Billy and Tommy. So we're going to start there before we get into the deeper themes of this series and our favorite parts of that. But so Billy and Tommy, do you think they're coming back? Because it seems like, right, they're doing like a Hawkeye series with Kate Bishop, who is like the younger like Hawkeye version of the next generation, and like they're setting up these young like stars, Avengers, if you would say. And there's a series of comics called the Young Avengers that include like Spider-Man, Billy and Tommy,
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Marvel, like Ironheart, who is like a young Iron Man, like prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like because they are doing Ironheart, they're doing a lot of these series in the future, which could mean that they would be coming back. But how?
Yeah,
Is an
that's the
interesting
question.
thing.
I do think they're coming back. I'm not sure how they will,
Right.
or I do not have any guess as to how they
Right.
could come back.
Right.
But
I can provide
we'll
you
see.
context from comics that I know. I mean, as you saw, if you saw the final cutscene of WandaVision, episode 9, you saw Wanda astral projecting while she was a lot
Yeah.
like doing normal things, kind of like Doctor Strange, but she, typically the rule is if you're astral projecting your soul doing things, your body must be
Sleeping,
unconscious
right?
or
Yeah.
sleeping, what's her name? From Doctor Strange. Dang it. The previous Sorcerer Supreme.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forget. It's been a while
Forget her
since
name.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, I know. So she was unconscious and she was on the, being worked on, and she was able to astral project. Doctor Strange does that while he's sleeping and he's studying, and whatever. But Wanda is doing it while she's awake, and so, bro, she's
making
gone
tea
full
while she's doing it too, or
making
something.
tea. She said it's none of my business. Yeah, it's kind of scary. Kind of delving into reading the Darkhold.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, she's supposed to be in Doctor Strange's next movie. Is she about to be the villain?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, big question. So in the comics, I'll like go back to my Billy and Tommy thing. In the comics, if you don't want to know this, again, this is just in the comics. Doesn't mean like not everything that happens in the movies comes straight from the comics. Sometimes it's inspired by. Sometimes it completely goes rogue. Sometimes they assign different like roles in the comics to like different characters. Like actually, like the Hulk scene in Infinity War when he gets crashed down into the Sanctorum, Doctor Strange's building. It's the Silver Surfer. But obviously he wasn't in the MCU, so they gave it to Hulk. Yeah. But that exact scene played out where he gets sent back down to Earth, it crashes into the Sanctorum, and they warn them about Thanos. Like that scene does happen, but different character. So that's just an example.
Interesting.
In the House, I think it's the House of M, might not be the House of M series, comics. Mephisto gives makes has Wanda birth the twins, Billy and Tommy, and it turns out they're just puppets of Mephisto's soul, who is like the devil for the Marvel comics, and they really just needed Wanda to birth them so he can have her powers or use her powers to like I don't know, something, to take over, something like that. So could this, at the end where we heard Billy and Tommy, "Mom, help," could that be Mephisto? Questions. Don't know. Might be. Stay tuned and find out in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. I'm even more intrigued now to find out.
Yeah. Right. There's so much possibilities of this.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, the original Spider-Man trilogy director, is directing that. So it's about to slap. And there's speculation that they're going to do a Spiderverse series in the next.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Far From Home. They're teasing a lot of these reality bending stuff that could be happening, multiverse of madness, you have to be visiting the multiverse in the multiverse of madness. Because if you're not, then Disney, you did us dirty. But
For sure.
alas, I trust that they will be doing that.
I think they will.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. Sorry if this is losing some of you because it's like a lot of geek talk, but I get excited about this. Here we go. We're gonna reel it back in and talk about how this kind of like this Marvel series, this 9-episode Marvel series, out of this 22 long movie like franchise. Well, that's the word, franchise. Star Wars and Marvel franchise. Yeah, we both could figure that out earlier. How they made this 9-episode series amazing, and the lessons that they taught us. Like every movie kind of comes with, you know, some heroic like theme and lesson and stuff like that. But what was your biggest takeaways? What was your bigger lesson that you got from this, Jess, from the series?
So one of the biggest things was the kind of the acceptance of loss and the acceptance of grief. Like I can only imagine, you know, how hard it was for Wanda after losing her parents first, then her brother, and now Vision, and even the trust of some of the people of the world when that incident happened in I forget where it was in
Sokovia?
I don't think it was Sokovia. It was in the Civil War.
Oh, Civil War. Sorry.
Captain America Civil War. Yeah, when she tries to save, you know, I think the bystanders from the bomb, and she throws the guy up in the air, and it
crossbones.
Yeah.
And it explodes into the building.
And explodes into the building. So like the amount of trust that she loses probably from, you know, the world, and you know they maybe start questioning her and her abilities and whether she's fit to be an Avenger or whatever. So like just thinking of her life up until this point, like it's been pretty hard, and she's had to deal with grief in many different forms. But now with losing Vision, one thing that really stood out to me was when she goes to retrieve Vision's body from what's his name?
Hayward.
Hayward.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she goes to get his body back for a funeral, you know, to bury him, and he says basically no, you know, and one of the reasons being because he didn't want her to resurrect him. You know, he realized that she had the power to resurrect him, and she looks at him and she says, "No, I don't want to do that. I just came here to, you know, to bury him or whatever." And even though she may not have thought that she could resurrect him, I still thought it was really interesting how she was starting to come to terms with her grief, and even after he said something about resurrecting him, it didn't seem like she had questioned it, like, wait, I have the power to resurrect him? Or she didn't seem to change her mind. She just said, no, I'm trying to come to terms with his death. I accept it, and you know, I'm ready to let go of him, you know. So I thought that was, you know, that's something, you know, in the midst of grief is really hard to do. And just thinking about the amount of grief that she was feeling, and she displayed that willingness to begin to let go was pretty inspiring, at least for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's really great. Yeah, they though I was like, people like kind of broke that down as Hayward's way because of what he did with, you know, White Vision, which was also cool. We didn't talk about them bringing in White Vision from the comics and being that murderous body that White Vision is.
Yeah.
I think people thought that he was actually trying to egg her on to do that, so that he could do what he did with White Vision. But he obviously
that's a good point.
She wasn't able to, because that's not what she came to, and even when she tried, she was unsuccessful. She said, "Oh, the heartbreaking words of 'I can't feel you.'" Oh.
that was heartbreaking.
Again, going back to Infinity War, that's gonna gut wrench you with their scenes and episode. With those parts. Anyway, and man, like, so many other, like, just a side note as a loophole here. Apparently, if had Vision not got stabbed in the Infinity War like he did through the center of his body, he would have been able to phase shift through Thanos trying to pluck the Mind Stone. And two, when you're trying to vibranium, it denses. Technically, it like gets harder when you try to put more pressure on it. So like, but it was because he was stabbed that he was unable to do that to prevent Thanos from actually getting the Mind Stone. So yeah, just a side note.
Wow.
About that. There's just so many, again. So
I never thought
details.
about that.
Yeah. It's like, why didn't you just phase shift? You could have done it.
Why?
Why? Vision, why? Oh,
yeah.
Dang it. There you go. Yeah, it's so it has so much layers to it, right? The healing forgiveness, like we talked about the line earlier, a little bit of what Vision said to Wanda in the Avengers complex. What is grief if not love persevering? Which is probably one of the biggest quotes of the entire series, and it's a beautiful quote and something that is definitely going to be reflected on our page someday on Living Ardently on its Instagram. But yeah, it's such a beautiful lesson to learn, right? My favorite lesson in this entire thing. So we talked about grief and how accepting and getting through those stages of grief is hard, but it's a beautiful thing when you're able to do to get to that point of acceptance in that grief process, to be able to move on and to go forward about things. My favorite thing though is when she's having this battle with Agnes in the last episode, and Agnes is like telling Wanda, like warning her and telling her who she is and what she is, and Wanda says, "I don't need you to tell me who I am." And it's just so good. And from that, she like does her blast and absorbs all the energy and powers of what's her face, Agnes, and is able to defeat her. And I think that, and I parallel that to like when the devil is trying to tell me, look at my sins, and like often when I fall and I catch myself falling into similar sins, I get down on myself, and I tend to say, "Oh, look at you," like the devil kind of gets back into my face and it's like, "Look at you, you're the same person you were when you came into this faith." And he starts telling me, "He's like, you're not ever going to be better. You're not ever gonna be able to be who you are. You have no idea what you're doing." And just placing so many doubts in my head. And like I envisioned that moment of like Wanda holding up, "I don't need you to tell me who I am," and me just saying, "I don't need you to tell me who I am. I am a child of God, bro. Like, I've been saved. I'm beloved. I'm blessed, and I'm forgiven. You know, he died for me, and then boom, like defeated, right? Like it's easy. It's like I wish it was that easy. I wish I could remind myself of that moment every time I start feeling these doubts, feeling these like nagging punches at me from the devil. But that's not always the case. You know, I sometimes will succumb to that. And if Wanda had done the same thing and listened to Agnes, she would not have defeated her in that last episode. We would be looking at a whole different series. And so for me, that's my biggest takeaway, is to remind myself constantly, especially in times of doubt and when I'm like being like teased by the devil of telling me who I am, trying to tell me my identity, to remember who I actually am and whose I am, and that will help me defeat those temptations, those doubts. I don't need you to tell me who I am, right, Wanda?
That's awesome.
Insert clip here. But that was my biggest thing. I mean, like grief, yes, like it's beautiful, right? Learning how to grieve loss. And I mean, I haven't lost someone in the way that Wanda has lost someone, right? The closest thing I have is like heartbreak in like past relationships, right? But I haven't lost a loved one the way that she lost. Like, I mean, obviously not even as tragic, like just in general losing a family member or friend to unfortunate early death, you know. Like I've never visioned that. So like, yes, I can still resonate and still see how powerful that is. But for me, it's definitely just that identity thing, that something I've struggled with a lot of my life, that Wandavision kind of like, I cried in that moment. I teared up. I was like, I don't even tell me who I am.
I think my sister and I stood up and started clapping or something. Just like, like, so you good.
It was so good. But yeah, I mean, that was just so well made, I think. And
it was,
you know, overall the series has opened the doors to like open our minds to like how great these Marvel series are gonna be. It set the expectation. The bar is high, you know. And if Falcon and the Winter Soldier doesn't deliver, I mean, obviously it's not gonna be the same aspect. It's not gonna be the same concept, obviously, right? It's not gonna be like reality bending crazy. It's more of a buddy cop like kind of series, like Rush Hour 2 Bad Boys kind of series, but Marvel. And so the production value is still high, and it already looks like after episode 1,
I haven't seen it yet, so don't say anything.
Zip.
Yeah,
it's good.
Okay,
it's turning out to be a really good series. I mean, the first episode, I can see where it goes. That last few seconds, it's where like, whoa, pop, let's go. I'm ready to fight someone. That's all I'll say to that. Cool.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I hope I can soon.
Yeah, it's and whenever that finishes up, maybe there'll be more lessons to be learned, and we'll do an episode on that.
To be continued.
Yeah, I'm loving this. This concept of like taking like deeper meanings out of films and TV shows has been something that's happening in my life often, and I love talking about it. So, Living Ardently there's gonna be space in Living Ardently for this. We're gonna make space for it, because this is just part of what I love to talk about, and hopefully it portrays into a good episode, you know. So in the future, I think we alluded to last episode that there will be an episode with Jarrell and our co-hosts, both our co-hosts, Jarrell and Steven, where we talk about Cobra Kai from Netflix. If you haven't watched Cobra Kai, that is the series that follows the Karate Kid movies, or technically all the Karate Kid movies with Daniel Russo. But instead of focusing on Daniel LaRusso's life, it starts off with the protagonist as Johnny Lawrence, and his perspective and where he is now. In I guess when it started was 2018 or 2019. I don't remember. 2018, I think. And it's so good. Such a great series. So much lessons to be learned. And we're going to talk about that. Character arcs, all that stuff. And hopefully you guys will enjoy that too, because Jarrell got Steven and I on it. And Sarah is even into it. So we're gonna have a whole circle up and talk about this stuff.
That's awesome.
So we're excited. But expect Jess whenever we do these Marvel ones. For sure. We'll have maybe we'll have a whole panel like of people
that would be
when
cool.
we're here. So
that
it'll
would
be
be
great.
really cool.
Maybe we need to do one on Mandalorian. We have to circle back and do Mandalorian 1 and 2 seasons 1 and 2. And what we can do
that would be so cool.
with that. So let's continue the conversation. Talk to me about your favorite parts of WandaVision. DM both of us. Whatever. Because WandaVision and not even just WandaVision. You want to talk about anything Marvel, Star Wars? Let's go. Let's talk about it. Ask me about my favorite things about any of the series, and I'll tell you. Or ask me questions about opinions on things. I got opinions on these things, so let's go. But we'll do more. Expect more. It'll be exciting. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a rating and a review. If you did like it, make sure you leave a rating and review on Apple Podcast. And if you're listening there, make sure you subscribe while you're at it. And then if you're not subscribed on Apple Podcasts, listening anywhere else, just follow and subscribe there. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, like the video while you're at it. And if you want to watch every time we post an episode on YouTube, which is a little bit after we post the audio version, you can leave a notification bell so you can see our wonderful faces while we record and talk, and see me slouch once in a while when my back starts to hurt. Like this. Yeah. What else do I got? If you want to follow Jessica, follow her at Jessie Strub, right?
Yep, Jessie Strub.
On Instagram, follow myself at Living Ardently. Follow Living Ardently at... Oh, wait, no. Follow myself at It's Only Adrian, and follow Living Ardently at Living Ardently. And send us an email if you want to send us an email at livingardentleypod@gmail.com. Give us a call or text at 407-853-2010. And visit our blog at livingardently.wordpress.com. I think that is all that we have. I think. Send us a DM. Talk to us about all the WandaVision, Marvel stuff that you want to talk about. Star Wars, whatever. Very exciting. I want to know what your favorite part of WandaVision is, so send me a DM. Leave a comment on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Jessica, thanks for coming on. Thanks for debriefing on live air for the first time ever.
This was a really cool experience.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back again for our next series breakdown of...
I'd love that.
Which Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll see how that goes.
Sweet.
All right, y'all. God bless. Thanks for listening. And until next time, keep living ardently. Wanda. Peace.
Peace.